Okay, well, we got some bad news to talk about today, and unfortunately, it does have to do with Mortal Kombat 1 on the Nintendo Switch 2. So let's just cut to the chase and get right into it. I made a video about a week or so ago when the Switch 2 came out where I looked at the performance changes for Mortal Kombat 1 on the new console, and I compared it to what it was like on Switch 1. And not surprisingly, a lot of things changed for the better, I would say. Loading speeds were 10 times faster, everything was smoother, resolution stayed consistent instead of dropping anytime something heavy happened. But the thing is, if that video made you want to get Mortal Kombat 1 for the Switch 2 and you never had it on the original Switch, then you're kind of out of luck. Why? Because it looks like at the moment Mortal Kombat 1 is delisted for the Nintendo Switch 2. Not on the Switch 1, you can still get it on the Switch 1, but if you're on the Switch 2 and you only have a Switch 2, you can't get Mortal Kombat 1. So if you're on the Switch 2 and you want to buy this game, you literally just can't. What happens is if we head on over to the eShop, let me block this out so you can't see my password, but if we head on over to the eShop and we go to the Mortal Kombat section, you can see here all my purchased content. The Definitive Edition, I never purchased it, obviously, because I already had everything that was included in it, so I didn't really have any need to buy it. But it ended up working out because now I can show you this. So, if you're on the Switch 2 like I am right now, all of the Mortal Kombat 1 content will show up as not available for purchase. For me, I bought them on the original Switch, and that's why I can access them on the Switch 2. But once you get into the description down here, let's scroll all the way down here. We can go down and see that there's a special notice for the Nintendo Switch 2 compatibility. Mortal Kombat 1 is unsupported due to problems with the game progression. Personally, I played the game for a while when I got my Switch 2 and I didn't notice any issues, but apparently something is wrong with it, enough so that Nintendo felt the need to not let people buy it on the Switch 2. Needless to say, Mortal Kombat 11 did not suffer this issue, so whatever it is that's going on with MK1, it must be pretty serious. There are a few other games as well that can't be played on the Switch 2, and part of the reason why, probably not the only reason, but definitely part of the reason why, is you gotta remember also is that the backwards compatibility of the Switch 2, it's not hardware based like we all initially assumed it was gonna be. It's actually running off an emulator, so the Switch 2 is actually emulating all the Switch 1 games, it's actually kind of crazy when you think about it, because you need a pretty beefy hardware to be able to emulate something like the Switch. Like, I always heard that you need at least something that is 3 times more powerful than what you're trying to emulate. Like, for example, my laptop, which can run Street Fighter 6, can't even emulate the Switch properly, but the Switch 2 can do it almost perfectly. Well, except for these special cases like Mortal Kombat 1, it's almost like back in the day when you had beefy specs but your computer still couldn't emulate Star Wars Rogue Squadron on Project 64. That was a great calamity for me because I really liked that game when I used to rent it for my Nintendo 64 way back in the day. I tried playing it on Project 64, that thing never worked. It is a great game, by the way. Some games are just difficult for no reason, and I guess Mortal Kombat 1 is one of them. But emulation aside, this still leaves the issue of a Switch 2 edition of Mortal Kombat 1. Given how poorly Mortal Kombat 1 was received in general, not just on the Switch, but on all consoles, I don't really see them putting in the effort to make a Switch 2 edition. Like, they would have to go back in, and most likely they would take the same approach that they took with Hogwarts Legacy, and they would go in and damn near redo almost the entire port using textures from the PlayStation 5 version. And who knows what else they would have to do. Like, looking at this from a practical sense, would you do it? Would you put all these people to work on a port that you know isn't going to get you any money when you have all these other games that you know are going to make you money, and you could just put those people to work on those games that are guaranteed money? I don't know, man. It doesn't really seem like a difficult decision to me. And beyond that, there's probably more going on behind the scenes of this game than we can see from just looking at the game. You know, if MK1 on the Switch was really just a super stripped down version of the console game, then it probably would not have been an issue to let us have cross progression at least, right? Even The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt did that on the Switch, but for some reason they couldn't do it for Mortal Kombat 1. But in any case, I've rambled on enough. That's going to be it for today's video. Tomorrow, I'm probably going to be looking at Guilty Gear Strive. And there was this other game that performed very, very badly. I'll be taking a look at both of those tomorrow. That's going to be it for today's video. I'm going to keep bringing you more combo videos, online matches, and video game news. I'm Switchplayed. Done.